Alright people, Mike Saladin here again. Welcome back to another Demon Souls video. Today I'm just going to show the sort of highlights from my Platinum Trophy journey in the Demon Souls remake. It was the first From Software game to start off the sort of Souls genre that they've become known for. I never played it back in the day. I started with Dark Souls in like 2013 or something like that. So I was pretty late to the party on this one. But since this was a PS5 exclusive, one of the few exclusives out at the moment, I decided I would finally pick this up and see what it was like and try to get the platinum. Because I've got the platinum in every other From Software Souls-like game. Um, and I found it to be a very enjoyable game. But you could tell it was sort of a prologue of the full Souls genre, and what I mean by that is it has a lot of the elements that the series would expand on later and become well known for, but they hadn't quite perfected the formula yet with this one. And one of the main areas is these boss fights. They were pretty gimmicky and sort of like little puzzles you had to solve rather than full-on fights like the other bosses in the series. Like the first boss here, the Palanax or whatever it's called. Basically, you just have to firebomb him to death. As soon as you work out you need fire, that's pretty much him destroyed. So that was the first boss fight. Did him on the first attempt. Moved on to this famous bridge. Decided to taunt the dragon a little because I got through there without being burnt. Eventually made it to the Tower Knight. Again, I managed to do him on the first attempt. But because this was my first time playing, I wasn't aware of the trick of just carving up his ankles until he falls over. So I've been doing a stranger method of just throwing fireballs at him. Because I realized quickly that magic was overpowered in this game. Pyromancy has always been overpowered in the Souls games. And I've really gotten attached to pyromancy. So as soon as I saw there was some fire magic, I was like, okay, I'm going to switch to using that. I did get in some attacks with my rapier on his ankles, but yeah, I hadn't figured out there was a way to like topple him over just yet. And then once he's knocked over again, you can't take out his head, and that damages him a lot quicker. So yeah, I had to do this the long way because again it was my first time playing. Ran out of magic here. Like an idiot, so I had to rely on poking him to death with the rapier. Very underpowered at the start of the game here. I hadn't leveled up that much. Normally I grind a lot more in Souls games, but in this one I was finding that sort of whatever souls I got in from a boss and leveled up from, that was basically seemed to be doing well enough for most areas. So I wasn't really grinding or farming for souls like I did in other games in the series. So yeah, I knew there was something going on with his ankles because of the blue light coming from it. But again, I just seemed intent on hitting him with spells and stuff because it seemed to be doing more damage. But it wasn't until I like helped somebody fight him later for a trophy that I realized you can knock him over, and then that would be the method I would use on other playthroughs. Next trophy, time for rolling. I can't believe I actually got through this alive. I should have died there. Look at my health. But yeah, you basically have to roll across that bridge to turn off the big ballista. Pretty funny little trophy. This is the area right after the ballista. This wasn't really needed for a trophy or anything, but it was my first Black Phantom fight. And I thought I would leave it in this video. Because I actually found the Black Phantoms. Because there's about 5 of them that you can fight, that you need to fight for to manipulate the character tendency system. I actually found them harder than most bosses, to be honest, which was pretty funny. And they were some of my funniest or the most fun fights I had in the game. Just cool little jewels that maybe really lead into the mechanics of the game and have to get good at the game. So yeah, I left in that little Black Phantom fight because I was pretty proud of myself because I beat them on the first attempt as well. But it did take a while of whittling them down. So this, I believe, I went back to the Tower Knight boss room to get summoned because you needed a trophy for helping a player defeat a boss, and I thought this would be a pretty easy boss to help someone with. I think he ended up doing most of the work. I was trying to follow the Souls protocol, bowing to someone who summons you and all that. I don't know if other people still try to follow those rules, but I thought I would do it. So yeah, I decided to help this guy, and he pretty much did most of the work. I saw him going in for the ankles there. So I decided I would help him out and aim for the ankles as well. Did an alright job. I got quite a few fireballs in on him there. Managed to roll in through his legs, and then I started hacking away. While my friend here, he also ran in, and he managed to knock him over. And I was like, "Oh, so this is what you were supposed to do with this boss." Again, like an idiot, I went in attacking his ankles, but really you're supposed to run in, go for his head. But I didn't quite manage to get around that time, but I did do some damage with the fireball. These archers were annoying. I couldn't be bothered to run around and take them out. I was just trying to concentrate on taking out the boss as quickly as possible to get this trophy. My little friend there knocked him over again. And then this time I realized you had to run in and try to get him in the head. So then we just wheeled on him, and that was that boss taken out. And that was that trophy for helping somebody defeat a boss. Was glad to get that out of the way. I don't normally play online, but Sony actually had a free weekend of online play during the time I was trying to do this. Very lucky timing. It was only like 2 weeks after I'd started playing the game, and I actually put it down for a little while because I was annoyed that I needed to buy PS Plus. But then suddenly Sony were like, "Oh yeah, by the way, we're having a free online weekend." So then I jumped on and got the 2 trophies related to that. This is the Flame Lurker fight. I'm leaving in this entire fight, I think, because again, I was pretty proud of this one. This was another first time victory. Again, I can't be too proud because I do realise that spamming magic, everyone knows, is the easy way to beat Demon Souls. Even though I've never played it before, I've always heard that, so I did lean into magic a lot during this game. But again, I thought I was pretty underpowered still. My health wasn't that high. I was playing in soul form for most of the game, which gives you half health or whatever, because much like Dark Souls 2, if you're in the soul form or whatever it's called, they limit your health. But yeah, I was doing a good job keeping him at a distance. Anytime he got close to me, I just backed away, started firing spells at him, and he seemed to get trapped in this little jumping cycle for some reason. I don't know if that was meant to happen or if it was a glitch. But he got stuck in it for a really long time here. I was missing quite often, which was annoying. But I decided since he was trapped like this, I would just keep firing off spells. Because he did break out of it eventually. But that little jumping around party he was seeming to have really helped me whittle down his health there. Almost got trapped in some scenery. And this was really the first boss where I was like, okay, this feels like a proper Souls game now. I was having to dodge a lot more, and he came close to taking me out quite a few times. But I did have quite a lot of grass with me, the healing item in the game, which is the precursor to the Estus flask. Again, a bit like Dark Souls 2 where you had the healing gems, a load of different types of healing gems. In Demon Souls you also have different types of grass which heal various amounts of health. It did make the game quite a bit easier because you could carry so much of this grass and so many different forms of it. But it was quite slow to use at times, so you really had to pick and choose your moment to heal. Estus, you always had to pick and choose your time to heal as well. But I always found the Estus flask was a bit quicker when you were chugging down the old Sunny D there. Anyway, that was the Flame Lurker. Really great fight. One of the better ones in the game, and pretty tricky on New Game Plus when I had to fight him again. This was the Man-Eater boss I'm heading to now. I guess I cut out a bit of the footage before this, but there was another Black Phantom enemy on the stairs on the run up to this boss, who I actually found to be harder and more annoying than the actual boss. It was one of those Mind Lurker enemies, and they were pretty terrifying because they could pretty much one-shot me, because they hit you with a stunning spell, and then they just charge up to you and grab you, and basically it's like game over if that happens. And he fights you on a very narrow staircase, and you can't roll anywhere or else you're going to roll to your death. And it's a really long run back to this boss if you do fail to the Mind Lurker Black Phantom or whatever those guys were called. So again, for the Man-Eater, basically just decided to rely on fire magic. I did have a better strategy the second time I fought him in New Game Plus, because I had to go into New Game Plus to get some of the Demon Souls over again to craft certain spells, so I had to fight these enemies twice. But the first time it was more of a proper fair fight, where I was trying to do it without any sort of overpowered moves. And I really was getting knocked about a bit, so I think I was getting the true experience of this Man-Eater fight. Most people say this is the hardest fight in the game, and for a first time through I think I would agree with that. Just this bridge, you can get knocked off it so easily, and if you don't take out one of these guys before the other one shows up and you start getting tag teamed, yeah, it is pretty difficult. And then they start doing these poison attacks and stuff, and then if you have to deal with a status effect of poison and having to heal poison or toxic or whatever it is, while trying not to get knocked off the edge, while also managing your MP if you're a magic user, it all can get a bit complicated and tricky. But thankfully they sometimes give you a moment to breathe by flying away into the air and then crashing into one of these poles, and then you can sort of take that moment to heal or fix your status if you've been hit with toxic or poison or whatever moves these guys throw out. Again, I was really much relying on throwing fireballs at him. I'm saying fireballs, but this was the weaker spell below fireball. If I had unlocked fireball at this point, I believe it would have been a lot quicker fight. And when I unlock another pyromancy spell later, it really decimated this boss and made him a joke. It was pretty funny. I did enjoy getting revenge on him in the second New Game Plus run I did. But for the first time through, I sort of had a fair fight with him. Didn't rely on anything too overpowered. I think I was at a pretty standard level for this fight. Can't remember my exact soul level at this point, but Again, I hadn't really been power leveling like I did in some other Souls games, where I try to get to like, I do level uh, 80 really early on by just farming or just finding a good soul farm and just abusing it. But in this game, it was mostly easier, aside from a few of these bosses. Uh, Mainly the Flame Lurker and the Man Eater here. Uh, but again, he wasn't too bad. It wasn't anything like the other Souls games where I was stuck for ages. And the main thing that had me stuck here was actually, again, the staircase on the way up here with that Mind Flare or Mind Flayer or whatever he's called. The Black Phantom guy on the stairs. He ended up killing me more than the actual boss. But yeah, I managed to get him down. Just whittling down his health with the magic. Again, magic kinda overpowered in this game. And it is recommended for newbies to try magic. Maybe I should have been doing a melee only run, but yeah. Just if I wanted to make it a bit harder for myself. And yeah, that was the trophy popping. The Man Eater trophy. And I think after this, yeah, we did the old monk fight. Not a lot to say about it, but I was the boss for somebody else's old monk fight, which is how I got my invader trophy. That was pretty funny. I managed to defeat somebody. I have a full video of that on my channel of the fight, which was a really long duel that went on for ages. This was the what did you call this boss again? The adjudicator or something. I basically had to take him down with magic. Just stand up on that path and you just really take him out without knocking him over, and that was another trophy. Storm King, this is where you get the Storm Ruler sword, and you basically take out the giant boss of the Manta Rays, the flying Manta Rays. This trophy, worthy of the sword, this was for giving this sword to this NPC, who then turns on you and you sort of have to take him out. Leechmonger trophy, this was another boss, one of these ones where you could just sit up here and firebomb him to death, which was pretty funny. But he's not even a hard boss if you go down there to fight him properly. The Dirty Colossus, he was pretty much just the Leechmonger part 2. But yeah, firebombing him to death went pretty well. He was another pretty easy boss. One of the few that was for acquiring this special weapon. I think you had to go out of your way to find that one. It was off here in sort of hidden area. Witch in the Tower, this was for freeing Uria the Witch, I think her name is. You had to disguise yourself as a fat official to find her. That was a pretty cool little quest. Let's see, this was for defeating the Penetrator with our buddy, the knight over there of the Twin Fangs. He was pretty cool. Helps us out with this fight and then helps us get past the dragon later. This was this was a fight with the old King Doran or whatever. I had to lure him to these stairs where his AI sort of glitches out. He's not that hard or anything. He just has a really, really large pool of health. And if he hits you once, he sort of takes you out. So it can be a test of patience to fight him the proper way. And just at this point of the Platinum run, I was just trying to speed things up a little. So I decided to lure him out to the staircase, block his path back to his main area, and that stops him attacking you, and you can just hit him forever, and he doesn't really fight back. But you can't let him get onto the stairs because then he does start to attack you again. But yeah, this was pretty funny, just keeping him trapped out here. But yeah, I did try to fight him properly, but it was too frustrating. So I did do a bit of a glitch move here. But these sort of moments, there's always a few of them that you utilize in Souls games. Sort of unique ways to break the game, to do certain parts that I sort of enjoy doing because it's pretty funny. It's not like you beat the whole game using glitches, just one specific bit. And yeah, that was the old king down. You needed to defeat him to get a ring. For the 30 rings you need for the King of Rings trophy. That's why we had to beat him in the first place. False King trophy, this was the final boss. Well, the real final boss, in my opinion. There is another boss after this, but he's kind of a joke. Another one of these pushover bosses. That was a pretty decent fight. Another one of the better ones. Legacy of Kings trophy, this was for combining two swords to get the Northern Regalia, the best sword in the game, pretty much. And I went to the New Game Plus because I had to get some of these Demon Souls again, and I just wanted to show how with this new pyromancy spell I had acquired, the man eaters just became a joke because you took them down in like 2 casts of this spell. You just completely decimated their health. That was really funny. I was pretty overpowered at this point. I had all the best magic, big bar of health, good armor, and I was sort of steamrolling people at this point. I just wanted to show the second man-eater fight how easily it went compared to the first one. And it just goes to show pyromancy, even though it's not called pyromancy in this, but like fire magic in the Souls games, it's just completely overpowered. And I think sort of that flame tower spell or whatever it's called, it comes back in Dark Souls as well. And again, it also decimates people. Really great spell. Sage's trophy, this was for buying all the magic spells in the game. I got my last one from Uria there. Again, I had to play through the game twice to get all the spells. King of Rings, yeah, this was for collecting all 30 rings. Last one I needed, you had to take out every NPC in little assassination quests for this person. And then you turn on her and take her out as well. Sickest Soul Power, this was for doing the bad ending, I think you would call it. Or maybe the evil ending, where you take out the Maiden in Black at the end. And then you get a trophy for that ending. Saint's Trophy, this was for buying all the miracles. Again, I had to do that in New Game Plus because I had to get the Demon Souls over again. And that was the last trophy I needed for the Platinum. So yeah, that's all the Souls games Platinum now. And I just love this franchise, and I had a great time doing this. Thanks for watching, people, and I'll see you again with a new video.